What up? Big Herc916. Positivity, motivation. Never settle for average. You can pick the merch up at bigherc916.com. Make sure you support. I got hats, got t-shirts, tank tops, and always push yourself to your maximum potential in life. It's crazy, man, all this critical race theory stuff they're pushing on social media. The woke culture, cancel culture. What parents are coming into awareness that they're trying to teach their kids in school. And I always tell you guys that prison, in California at least, is the testing grounds for a lot of this bullshit. The whole racial discussion that they're bringing to light about what you can or can't do because of past injustices, which is why you're in the situation you're in. This is all a psychological game, man, that they want people to buy into, especially the blacks, so that they regress rather than progress. You have a lot of blacks, minorities, who are getting a lot of money, who have crossed, and now you have a lot of whites who are interacting, and just there's a lot of co-mingling, and everybody's seeing that you can succeed and make things happen, and it's not based on your skin color once you get past the factually misconstrued history that was taught in a lot of the schools. See, going back to the California prisons, not to get off topic, is California state prisons are the most racially segregated prisons in the country. Blacks can't talk to whites, whites can't talk to blacks, Mexicans aren't supposed to interact with blacks, blacks aren't supposed to interact with Mexicans. And in the prisons, when these guys get out, these same philosophies are pushed into the neighborhoods and communities that these people are from, which trickles into other aspects of life, which promotes and continues this racial ignorance. You can't touch this railing because a black guy leans on it or touches it. You can't sit at this table because it's a white table. You can't use this toilet because it's a Mexican toilet. I mean, it's crazy, man. And you wonder where it all comes from. Well, there's no unity inside prison. Prison, when people, want to talk about, oh, prison, man, I was up in there, man, it's the most ignorant place you could think of when it comes to trying to have an intellectual conversation and trying to bridge gaps as far as racial divide and just intellectual conversation. You could have a guy over here who's white who could possibly help you beat your case that you were wrongfully convicted of, but you can't talk to him because he's white. You could be a black guy and you could be like trying to push yourself to get your GED or maybe file your appeal, but your own homies will be tripping on you because you're not spending time on the yard. A lot of that is the same thing that they kind of mix into how they want kids to feel on the street. Like, to a degree, if you don't believe in the critical race theory, you don't support it, then you're a sellout, or you're not in the woke, quote unquote, movement. And it's just really sad, man, because I always said it. I said, man, they'll try stuff in prison to see if it works, and then if it works, they'll try it in little community tests. It's like having an experimental testing ground for what we can do in mainstream society. The wardens are the governors, you know, the guards are the police. You know, it's the same thing. And a lot of them don't even know what they're doing, but they do it nonetheless because that's what they're told to do. But it just used to blow me away, man, because I didn't grow up like that. But in prison, you have to follow certain policies. And I was in the federal prison. So even though I was in the feds and it was in Cali, there still was politics, but you were able to do a little bit more because of the federal system and how it was set up as far as studying with somebody white who maybe knew something you didn't know, or talking to a Mexican guy because of maybe you have a common interest, you know, but you couldn't eat together. You couldn't sit together in like the theater room. You couldn't do certain things together, but so you would have to do things in passing. And essentially what I see is another divide, but they're trying to push that divide here on the street. They're trying to make certain people feel that they're incapable without certain things put into play. They are trying to really promote a lot of insecurities. And, you know, it's all public school, government ran. Prison, state ran, government funded. Same thing, man. You know, the same type of ignorance. And I seen where they had in Virginia, where the parents came to the community meeting, and they were very upset. And, you know, just the breakdown of values. And I'm not religious, but I support the people who say it's breaking down of Christian values. It is. It's a breakdown of morale. Breakdown of values of what this country was founded on. Because you're now, you know, trying to undermine the parenting and have these kids now do things or feel a certain way, which down the road creates more control. You know, man, I ain't never felt like because of the color of my skin, I was inferior. I never felt that because of what somebody else told me, I was incapable of reaching a certain level of success. And then as I got older and started researching myself, I find out that not everybody over here was goddamn slaves. Not everybody was on a goddamn ship that had chains around their neck. So that's a fallacy. See, there's a lot of fallacies because whoever wrote the history was considered a victor, so they put what they want in there so that the people who read it had their narrative. This is a big game, man. This is a big game, man. See, it went from one thing over here to a whole nother now. Did you see what's going on? Do you see what 2020 pushed in? And see, a lot of this was kind of being implemented before this whole thing took place, but because of the Zoom classes and the parents listening to what their kids are being taught, it's been brought to light. But this is a big plan, you guys. You better wake up. You better take control of your kids' future, their education, pay attention to what they're being taught, and don't let your kids be brainwashed by the bullshit out here, which is going to make them subservitude and literally mental slaves. Because I'll tell you right now, I've been around a lot of mental midgets, and I've heard the conversations, and when it doesn't go one way, it goes straight to violence. And if you see what's going on in a lot of these cities, if you don't agree, then we're going to burn it down. If you don't like this, we're going to shoot. We're going to steal. We're going to do this. There's no conversation no more. And that's how it is in prison. There's no conversation. Somebody doesn't like something, they go get a knife. You don't like this, we're going to riot. And it's just like ignorance at its highest level. And I'm trying to see how we can get back to a civilized medium and have discussions, but don't try to tell me a bunch of bullshit when if I can research and find out for myself now that my ancestors were here as natives, because my grandmother's auntie or her grandmother was pure Native American, straight hair, golden skin. They didn't. From all I know, if I could have had this conversation with my grandmother, they were here before the slave ships. So don't try to tell me some critical race theory. And my grandmother came from the South, and she never told me you're black and because of what happened in history, because of the white man, you'll never be anything, baby. My grandma used to read. She used to always push me, but she never created doubt. And now you want this whole, we got to teach this history. Whose history is it? Come on, man. This is some bullshit. And it's the same shit they push in prison. Divide and keep you separate. Keep you hating each other. Create more animosity. It's bullshit. So I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to tell you, man, do your own homework. Man, take action in your kids' lives, man. And I don't have any kids, man. And, man, I'm It's scary right now, man, if you're a parent, man, and you're trying to raise a young black child to be intelligent, upstanding, and have some type of dignity about themselves. And with all the stuff going on in the schools, if the public schools, if you ain't in a private school or charter school, man, I pray for you, man. Big Herc916.
Hello, I'm Big Herc916. Contact me for life coaching and motivational speaking.